What's up, Squadron? Aviation has given me a ton of amazing experiences. And more importantly, it's introduced me to a whole new family of friends. Join us tonight because we're cleared direct for some hangar flying. I'm Bryon Dembroski, and this is SuperAero Live. Well, that's never happened before. Where'd the music go? You guys were awesome in the chat, though. You were all like, L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E, 2, 3, 4. I saw you in the chat. You guys were all doing it. I don't know what happened. I was getting ready to go. I bumped the keyboard. Music went away. No idea why. This is a real professional thing we're doing. We do this every Wednesday. Only episode 46. You think I'd be able to figure out why the music went away? Hey, I'm super pumped. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for SuperAero Live, and we're going to get to our guest in just a second, but I want to make sure that you guys all, obviously, go check out last week's show. Such a super fun time with Carolyn. And hang in for next week. Next week's going to be cool, kind of a super secret show that we're working on there. Got a couple details to work out, but hang in for that. It's going to be really cool. And if you guys are going to Sun and Fun in a couple weeks, I want to know about it because I might be there. Because I got the Fauci ouchie, means I can get on the planey waney and go to Sun and Funny. Man, I am trying hard tonight. Let's get the guest on the show because that will get me out of my rut. Everyone, look, I never had a princess on the show before. It's the flying princess, Laura Humphries.
Hi. Hey, everyone. It's Hump Day. That means it's Humphries Day.
I love it. I love it. So, thanks for hanging in. Normally, like, what you guys can't see is on the show on my end, right? Like, I can see the guests as we're, like, getting ready, and, like, the music started, and Laura's like, all right, let's do this. We're going to have a good show. And then it went away, and she was like, not actually. You seemed less phased than I was, but I missed our little amp-up music. But anyway, let's just start talking. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was just saying I love the intro.
Yeah, what's going to happen is someday I'm going to change it and everyone's going to unsubscribe. Because that's the only reason they're only here for that music.
Right.
So a good friend of the show and a mutual friend of ours, Steph Strickland, said to me, and I think I told this to you before the show, when I was first getting SuperAero Live off the ground, I said to her, who do you absolutely think I need to have on the show? And she's like, well, first, Major Brewer from the Thunderbirds. I think we can get him. And then she's like, but after him, you got to get the Flying Princess on the show. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so you've been, people are writing articles about you. You were on the EAA, Spirit of Aviation Week. They did an interview with you. You're kind of everywhere. But for folks who maybe don't know you, because I follow your awesome Instagram account, do you want to give us, like, what's the elevator pitch? Like, how, I don't know, how'd you get started in all of this?
Well, it really started back in 2014 when I was working at a Mercedes dealership. And a flight attendant came in, and she was in her uniform. She was super spunky black girl. Came in, I was just like, oh my God, the normal questions, like, oh, do you love being a flight attendant? Where do you go? Where do you fly? You know, do you think I could do it? And she was like, oh my God, Laura, I love your personality. I think you would be great. I'll help you through the whole process. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to be a flight attendant traveling the world. My parents are going to love me even more. They're going to have benefits. Like, this is going to be great. So I went through the interview process. I got the job. And the rest is kind of history. I started it and I was like, I'm going to do this forever. This is easy. This is good money. Like, I really am enjoying everything about this job, like, especially compared to the jobs I had before. And I got in and about a year, 2 years, I was like, ooh, I need something more. I need to do something else. I'm like, oh my goodness. But in aviation, I didn't want to leave Delta. Leaving Delta wasn't an option. But I knew that I just had to get my feet in something else because I wasn't using all that my brain is capable of doing. And at that point, I started looking at the pilots and looking at how they were getting treated, looking at what their job entailed, and I started asking questions. When I asked questions, they were like, "Oh, this is a great job if you can do it, but it costs a lot. We're all in debt." And I'm like, "Ooh, what kind of debt? What does that look like?" And it's like, "Oh, 100,000, 50." I'm like, "Oh God, Jesus, no." That is not my friend. I do not want to be in anybody's debt. So I was like, it kind of deterred me a little bit, because I had to just come up with a plan on how I was going to save the money or come up with the money so that I wouldn't be in so much debt coming out of it, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to get into the career and not be able to enjoy it because I'm too busy trying to pay off loans.
Sure.
So yeah, I waited a little bit. I started planning in my head, but not too much. And then I met my first Black female captain. And it was a monumental moment. Till this day, I can't even believe it. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, this is a sign from God. I already knew I was going to do this. I wanted to do it. I thought about it. I felt it, but I still was that thing that wasn't making me jump to do it. And then I saw her and she was the captain. And I was just like, oh, that's a sign from God. I know the Lord is telling me right now, this is what you have to do. This is what you need to do. So after that, I sold my condo, moved back with my parents, and I'm almost ready for my commercial now. I'm not a few hours away. I pretty much can get it now. I'm just working on the maneuvers, and yeah, no debt, still debt free. That's my goal, is to get out of this not owing any money.
That's awesome. And then separately, I'm looking through here. Oh, here we go. I think I found it. You sent me a picture of that that first captain, the first
Yes,
Black
Stephanie
lady
Johnson.
captain.
Yes,
Let me find it here. That's because you said, like, here's the moment. I'm gonna just awkwardly put it on the screen here, but look,
yes.
where it all began. Look at that.
Yes, when I didn't have my bangs.
I'm gonna slide over here. So one of the things that I was reading as I was reading and researching kind of your story, there was a statistic, and I don't remember exactly what it was. So great journalism here, but the idea that in terms of, like, you were talking about, like, this is your first person who looked like you flying as a captain, like, that actually is super rare, right? Like, it's in terms of women, we had a woman airline pilot on last week, and that's a little rare. And then it's even more rare to have a woman of color as a airline captain. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little. That was something, like, when I saw this picture at first, I'm gonna play like the naive guy for a second here. I was like, oh well, how long could that have been before you met? But like a lot.
It was like 2 years. It was 2 years in. It was a bit in. I was a good 2 years in and never even worked with a Black female pilot, let alone a captain. So for me, it was like, I mean, we were all excited. Like, we couldn't even believe our eyes. I didn't even know she existed at Delta. Because I'm sorry, but Delta is nothing but, white older men or white men, young. I mean, it ranges, older and young. But I mean, even seeing a female pilot, we don't see that often. I have met a few, but they've never been Black, and it's been like sporadic here and there. So, and they all kind of have a history of, oh, my dad was a pilot,
Oh, okay.
My mom, they have that history behind them. So it's kind of hard to see yourself doing something when their background led them to get to this. I don't have the background in it.
Sure. And that's, I think that's the other thing that's always interesting in terms of that career path, right? Is in terms of, like, if you don't have that influence to push you, you might not know it's an opportunity that a thing you can pursue, right? So that's super cool. That was just really exciting for me when I learned that, and then learned about your journey. I think that's really cool. I want to talk to you more about that, but first let's say hi to a couple people in the chat. All the regulars are here. Nathan, 72 Papa, Tyler Russell. You guys are all here. Airmac, don't worry, we won't change this song. You might recognize this guy. He's been on the show before. Mel the Traveler is here.
Oh, my bestie. Hey, Mel. Oh.
Dropping some fire. Mel's here. Taryn's here.
Oh, my daughter. I love you, daughter. She's a fake daughter. I mean, I love her like a real daughter, but I didn't move back with my parents and have a kid.
Oh, gotcha. um, Clayton's here, Zach's here, Connie's here. So Connie, we keep talking about Connie. Connie's a member of the I've got a awesome group of Patreon supporters that support me. Connie's one of those folks, and she's also in what we are in a flying club together, and she is following your footsteps. Similar path, right? Went from the flight attendant thing, pursuing the airline captain dream right now as well. We were talking about her. Sorry, Connie, we're always talking about you now on the stream, but so she was really excited, of course, to see you on as well. So okay, so hello everybody. Sorry, I normally do that in the very beginning, and I was so flustered with the music and excited to talk to you. So talk to me a little bit about. I mean, it sounds like. I think one of the interesting things you just brought up was and I actually felt this way with Mel too, right? And there's this interesting thing you guys are both doing, which is you're just kind of like manifesting this career, right? So like Mel was like, I want to be an air show pilot, and I bought a decathlon, and I'm like, how do you do that? And he's like, dude, you just go buy a decathlon. Like you just do it. Like you don't question it, you don't worry about it, you just do it. So like I'm hearing from you, like I just sold the condo, boom, we're going for it. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. That scares me, but also like I'm totally inspired by that willingness to just jump and go.
Manifesting is so important. I'm a true believer in anything I say I'm going to do, I'm going to get done. Whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, like move forward in my life unless I accomplish what I said I wanted to accomplish. So when I decided to even write the book, it was like, if I had this in schools, maybe if I read a book on this, I would have known sooner. I was just so frustrated that I didn't know sooner that I could be a pilot or what a pilot was, or even being introduced to it. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to make a children's book, kind of like outlining my journey and, go from there. And then my instructor named me the Flying Princess. And so that has followed me with this whole experience, this whole aviation journey. And for the book, like a princess is the epitome of a woman that they just think is supposed to be pretty and look good. And here I am, a princess becoming a pilot. Like I am trying to take over this aviation world, and I want all the women to do it with me.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what got me in.
Oh, awesome. No, I was going to say we should talk about the book too, because that's the other kind of special thing. I'm going to throw that up on the screen right now. It's interesting. So we were talking before the show. I've got 2 daughters. They're 5 and 2. And one of the things that makes me so happy, just in general, right, is that Disney princesses are actually starting to have like real agency, and they like totally kick butt. My favorite is Moana. Like Moana is like a superhero. Like she's insane. Like she's just insanely capable in this like man's world that she's existing in. And so I love that it's changing. Like you mentioned, like, oh, it's like this, we're supposed to be like the pretty whatever person, but like now there's like agency attached to it, which I also sorry, that's not what people are here to talk about, airplanes and flying, but that's just part of it, right? That's part of it. Here's the cover of the book.
Yeah,
which is awesome. And these, like, you're selling these, right? Like this is like a thing people can get. They can like buy this book.
Yes, on youlooklikmebooks.com is where they're at right now. I published it through Lulu. But yeah, it's literally my journey and my story in children form, not completely my story, but just wanting to do something and then doing it and then believing that you can do it too. And seeing someone like you, because it just that much easier when you see someone, whether it's your age, your look, your height, like anything that makes you feel like you can accomplish it too. I'll never forget there was a picture surfacing of a boy in a wheelchair at Target, and he saw a model in a wheelchair. And like he was just staring at it. And I was just like, that's so powerful, because now he sees that even though he's that. He can do that as well. And that's what it's about.
Waukesha Pilot's being funny in the chat. He's saying the characters in your book forced to go around, though, on the runway there.
Oh, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. Right.
It's a book, dude. It's a book. It's a cover of a book. So let's take a step back. So one of the things I think people are often wondering about is, like, where did the name the Flying Princess come from?
Well, in my everyday life before this new journey, I've always went by Princess Laura, Flawless Princess, once before Heartless Princess too, but nonetheless a princess. And then when I met my instructor, I was like, oh, my name is Laura, but you can just call me Princess if it's easier. I always say that to everybody, because if it's easier, just call me Princess, because it's hard to remember names. And he was like, okay, Princess. And so he would always call me Princess. I don't think he ever called me Laura. Princess, let's go. It was always Princess. And then when I did my solo, like, I did such a good job of my solo. I was so happy. When I cut to give him, it took a couple of days, but when he brought it back, it was so nicely done. I should have sent you a picture of that as well. It said the Flying Princess on there, and I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. This is so me, the Flying Princess. Why didn't I think of it? So I received trademark the name. I did everything. I'm like, this is me. I can't let this go.
You gotta do it for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think it's great. I don't have any good nicknames. People, all of my stuff is like either somewhat derogatory. It could be like, oh, like Ryan's like, well, used to be a thin Drew Carey, but now he's really thin and I'm not. And then the other thing is I made a video about eating Thin Mints in my airplane, and now people are starting to call me Thin Mint, which is fine. I mean, there could be worse things. I got a text from one of my friends today. It's like, how's it going, Thin Mint? And I was like, oh
my goodness.
It's becoming real. It's becoming real. So the Flying Princess, you win. You definitely win. You definitely win there. Talk to me a little bit about, so you said you're just about to finish up commercial. I'm only a private pilot. I don't even my instrument or anything. Like, what's that journey? I mean, just for folks in the chat maybe, or who are watching that don't necessarily know what that journey is like. I mean, certainly like kicking it off the way that you kicked it off is exciting and inspiring. But then like separately, like you got to put in work. Like, I don't know if people realize how much work it is to get to where you are. I don't know if you want to walk through that a little bit for folks.
Yes. The journey to becoming a pilot, a lot of self-motivation. A lot of self-motivation, having ambition, wanting to get it done, persevering through it all. I will say when I started, because I was like, you know what, after my discovery flight, I was like, all right, I really want to save my money and then go back and do it. Well, then Delta offered the Propel program. I'm like, oh, forget the money. Like, I'm just going to have to go ahead and do it and get it done. And it was a lot of frustrating parts because it's so easy to get discouraged trying to become a pilot in every aspect with every rating, because when you don't catch on, you're supposed to catch on quickly, and then you're not catching on, and you feel like you're never going to get it because, baby, those landings, I never felt like I was going to catch on 60 landings before I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. Because the whole time I'm like hovering over, oh yeah, we feel pretty low. Like, I'm scared to go any lower. Like, that was so difficult. And then once I did that, it was pretty much smooth sailing from there. It was like, okay, you taught me something, learned it, I caught on, I was good. But the landings really, really, didn't want me to be great. And 52 hours later, that's when I received my private pilot. And then I went to a Sisters of the Skies Gala, applied for a scholarship there, and I received a scholarship. So that paid for my instrument. And I mean, my instrument, I had a situation with an instructor that, no fault to him, but he was just there to get hours because he wants to get to the airline. He wasn't really focused on teaching me, because every time we would finish the flight, it was like, oh, you did great, see you next time. And then I would tell him, like, hey, like, could you please let me know what we're going to be working on the next day, what I need to work on? Like, I don't feel like I'm getting any better or any worse, if that makes sense, because I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong. Because he's like, oh, yeah, you're good. And then, I mean, I kept saying this to him, texting him, like, hey, I heard we're supposed to learn partial panel. Why haven't we done partial panel yet? You know, we're like 20 hours in. And he's like, oh, yeah, we can do partial panel. I'm like, I know we can do it, but why haven't we done it yet? So it became a thing, and I had to, you know, let him go and move on to another instructor, to my lovely instructor, Tommy, who I love. He's phenomenal. But even that situation, it frustrated me because you're wasting money with someone who doesn't take their position seriously, because this is not what they want to do. They don't want to be an instructor. They're just doing it for hours, you know, and it's very obvious.
Sure.
When you work with certain people, you can see that. You can see if they're serious about it or not, if they have your best interest at heart, if they're just taking your money for their own, you know, benefit. And I saw that, and that's why I get so vocal and I say so much things on the internet and I write my blog, because it's so easy for us to be taken advantage of, especially being a woman and being passive and looking for the best in everyone and just like, okay, well, we'll see. This is not a we'll see journey, because it's a lot of money involved. You don't want to we'll see nothing. You're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money and have nothing. And that's going to discourage you even more when you put so much money into something and you didn't even get what you wanted out of it, and you haven't moved on to the next level. Like, this is not the industry to do that. Like, you have to speak up. You have to understand, you know, if you're not getting better, it might not be the instructor. It might be you need another way of learning, another instructor to teach you. You know, you have to be vocal. You have to put yourself, and not let your money just be thrown away, because people will let you throw your money. I think it's ridiculous when I hear people, it's been 100 hours plus for a private pilot when you can get it in 4. But that just shows people keep taking your money. Like, oh, you want to fly once a month? Okay, I'll let you do that. No, tell them they need to fly consistently or it's counterproductive. You know?
Right.
Money pit too. We have that.
No, I think it's so interesting. You brought up something that we brought up a lot of things. Like, one, the need to be assertive. I was not prepared when I did my private pilot and how assertive I would need to be. Like, I can't think of the word right now, but just to advocate, self-advocate, right? Like, hey, like, this is what I need, right? You're talking about the partial panel stuff. I had the same stuff in my private pilot about like flight following, right? And I remember saying to my instructor, who I loved, saying to him, like, hey, like, you know, when am I going to learn how to do flight following? He's like, why would you ever call them? And I was like, oh, we're just in a different place on this. That's cool. Well, I still need you to teach me, right? I still need you to teach me how to do that.
Right.
The other thing that you brought up was interesting is that if you're ever on that the Reddit forum, like /flying or whatever, there's almost like weekly someone who's saying, like, I'm at 110 hours and I'm still not achieving my dreams. And like 9 times out of 10, the group's like, fire your instructor, right? Like, you're just getting milked. Like, you need to, like, So I don't know. I think that's really important and cool. Like,
and I didn't go through that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, I didn't go through that. My experience, it was like, okay, one side got the landing, okay, boom, learn this, boom, do a cross country, and I go and do it right behind him. Like, it was just back to back, and it was like, okay, you ready? You did your oral, you studied, took my written. It was like, all right, well, let's go ahead and, you know, do your prep. Like, it was very to the point. I'm all over the place, very structured. And I'm grateful for that. And because I've had that, I'm able to getting played when someone's taking advantage of them. I'm like, oh God, no, let me call this person and let me get you to this person because, you're and I mean, they're paying way more than what I paid. Like this, we're talking about 200, 220 an hour, instruction included. And that's insane. I think I was paying 150 and that was still crazy for me, like, but to hear that at 100 plus hours, that's like $25,000, 20,000 plus for a private.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's real. That's like that's like. I mean, well, I was gonna say it's a college education, but also like that is kind of like it actually is the equivalent of that. But no, it's just for the private. You should be able to stretch those dollars further. You just like I don't know. You gotta like you said. There's a lot of money that's gonna go into these journeys, right? So it's like you don't want to blow it all up front. A couple of people in the chat just chat. Well, actually, let me ask. Some questions came in on Instagram. I put a little post out that said like, "Hey, if you have any questions,
Okay.
let's ask them." Well, I'll give you the. You might know this amazing person. Tuskegee Bloodline wants to know, why are you so perfect?
He's so crazy. I'm not perfect at all. I just, moving in my purpose. Crazy Jerome.
You had on your account, you've got some. I think it was you were flying with Mel in the decathlon, and Drakenor is asking if you're training in aerobatics, what's your favorite aerobatic maneuver, or is aerobatics something that you want to continue to learn?
I did my one training flight with the aerobatics, and I absolutely love it. And another thing, it's a lot of money involved in getting serious about it. So I want to make sure that I am completely serious once I get going and not just, dibble dabble here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm like, clearly I'm a natural. I'm supposed to be doing this. My favorite, I don't know. I love the role. I think the role is something that is really, really cool, really nice, and it's not scary at all. It's not as scary as it looks. I don't know. Have you ever done the role?
I mean, I've done like not like roles proper. I did like high yo-yo stuff, like combat maneuver stuff, and I just puked everywhere.
Oh no!
So like I've never done just like a proper loop. Or like a proper roll, right? Like everything was like yank and bank, get some type. It wasn't. It was. I want to learn to do. Really, what I need to do is talk Melon to let me come fly with him. But I want to like just learn how to do like the gentle man or woman maneuvers, right?
Yeah.
Like how do I like
the role? You would love the role then. The role is for you. The roll is really nice because, I mean, it's like a little dip, then pull up, and then turn around, and it goes so slow, like you can see everything, and it's just really, really cool. It's really nice. I enjoy that. And the seat spiral. I don't know. I like stuff that are challenging and fun and a thrill because I like risking my life for some reason. I don't know.
I was going to say, this is all just...
I was going to say, this is rush.
This is all just me thinking like, a roll, that seems like I would puke. Oh, a steep spiral, that seems like I would puke. Oh, like...
No, those are more controlled. No.
No, I know. That's an awesome answer. And that's also why I haven't pursued it beyond, a little bit here, a little bit there. Like, the thing I worry about is it's like a commitment on top of your commitment, right? To go learn aerobatics and be safe. And the thing I always worry about, which is, it's going to sound like such a dude thing to say, is I'm worried that like I'm going to get too excited about it and then like go be irresponsible with it. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh, like I had that one lesson about how to do a loop. Like, here I go, right? Like, you need to like put in real time, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's that macho, I think, macho attitude.
I am not
I
actually
can
macho.
do this. I can do that. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I'm safe, but I'm still like a daredevil. I'm still willing to do whatever, but I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I just do anything on my own. Definitely have to have somebody with me. And you have 2 kids, so you have to be a little more careful, with your children. Me, I'm kind of like,
They'll still have a mom. I'm going in. All right.
You going?
I'm gonna do it. There was a question in here from folks. Gary Smith just wanted to get back to the kind of the primary training. He's just wondering, what did you do your private training in?
I did in the Cessna 172 at ACE, Aviation Career Enrichment for minorities, nonprofit.
And is there because you've flown a number of types now based on me Instagram stalking you.
Stalker, I know.
Yeah. So like, what's your favorite out of everything you've trained in so far? What's your favorite aircraft you've flown so far?
Okay, so I feel like I like different planes for different reasons. So I will start with the Cessna. I love that the Cessna will pretty much fly itself. I like that it glides. It gives you time to really think, really figure out what your next move is if the engine goes out. The Cessna 172. I love Mel's plane, the Decathlon, because you can do so much with it, and it's such a free, non-forgiving plane. And I hate landing that plane. I think it is the hardest thing to do in the world. But when I finally got it, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. But that was really, really difficult. And what was the other plane? Oh, and I love all the low wing planes when you got to put gas in it. You don't need a land.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know. So I'm not like, I feel like my plane is a fighter jet. I just know I'm supposed to be a fighter jet. And when I get in it, that's when you're going to hear like, that is my favorite of all time. That's the only plane I ever want to fly. So that's going to be my next move, is to get into a fighter jet, join the Air Force.
So, I mean, the thing I worry about I think I'm a little bit older. I'm too old to like actually pursue that dream of like going and getting like actually piloting one for like
manifest.
No,
There's ways around everything.
I guess I need to start a wildly successful business so I can buy my own.
Steph has been in so many of them, and she doesn't fly them. It's possible.
No, Steph's put in a lot of time to get that. Like you're saying, manifest. I guess Steph's put in a lot of time.
Manifest it.
Here's the thing I'm worried about. I'm worried that it would ruin me. It would like ruin all the other airplanes. Like I'd be like, oh, yawn. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't.
Yes.
What's the thing? Never meet your heroes.
Right. And it's like, what's next? How do you go up from here once you've been at the best? Yeah. Well, that's my plan. It's just like, okay, all these planes are great. I'm loving learning. I love flying new planes. I thoroughly enjoy it, but my goal, I feel like I would get the most thrill and adventure in a fighter jet.
I love it. I would love this. I would
fight for my country, then, so be it. That's what comes with flying one.
Well, I'd like to call back to, and Plane Lady just called this out, you did just moments ago say, I love risking my life for some reason.
It's true. I do.
There you go.
I do. I like skydiving. Up a cliff in Jamaica. I like whitewater rafting. I mean, there's a lot of things. Anything that's going to give me a rush, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go for it. Let's try it. I'm willing to try it at least once to see how I like it. And I've liked everything except for jumping off the cliff. That really almost broke my neck. I know, yeah. I hit the water so hard, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, that wasn't fun. But everything else, it's fine.
I love it. By the way, everyone is agreeing with you in the chat about the decathlon. Lots of Clayton is saying he did a spin endorsement at the decathlon, that it was a blast. Also, apparently I did do steep spirals. One of my instructors is in the chat, and he said I didn't puke when we did them, so that's good.
Yeah, they're controlled, but you're looking at the ground, and it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, no, I did my BFR if I got back current a couple weeks ago, and like doing like turns around a point, like steep turns around a point was like cool. I was like, all right, we're doing this, so I get it. This is the thing.
Right.
So let's go back. So right now you just said you're about to finish up commercial. Then because I actually don't know. So you do your commercial, and then what's next? Is it like, do you go multi, or do you like what's the path as you continue along?
Yeah, so the plan is commercial multi, and then flight instructor. You want to get your CFI, CFII, MBI. So I haven't quite decided if I'm going to go the flight instructor route, because after I get my commercial, I have to study for the AFOQT test, because I'm serious about getting into this Air Force. And I have to do all that planning and then see where that takes me. I probably will do it, because I think I just want my resume to be so, tight knit that by the time I make it to the airlines or get to my ultimate goal, it's like, oh my God, like, how can we deny her? She's done this, that, and the third. Like, that is my real plan. So I probably will do it, if not right after commercial, like after I take my AFOQT test.
Gotcha.
So I don't have my plan before when I first started was get into Delta Airlines. I'm going to be a pilot for Delta Airlines. This is the path. And they came out with Propel, and it was perfect. But then when the pandemic happened, they got rid of the Propel program, and, the industry kind of, fell, except for cargo. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I want to go to cargo, because people are so finicky. Packages always got to get delivered. So I'm thinking more towards cargo, but I also want to do aerobatic training and get into the shows with Mel. I can see that vision as well. So I'm just going one step at a time, accomplishing one goal at a time, and seeing where it takes me. Because to be honest, God has been directing all of this. Every time I get into something, it's a smooth transition, because I really feel like it's his path for me.
I dig it. And I think I had a question, and then you just said that, and now I forgot the question, because that was resonating with me. But like, I guess the question I have is, so as you go through it, like, oh, I remember, I was going to make a dumb joke. You said this really meaningful thing. I was going to make a dumb joke right before you said that. The dumb joke was that you are far too charismatic to fly cargo, because you'd want to be chatting with all the folks in the back, because you want to be...
I know. I do love people, but then, there's some people not to love, so I'm trying to avoid that.
That's true. Sorry, that was
I
lame.
Job security. Look, I'm trying to have job security. Okay?
That's fair.
Don't talk back. I would just hopefully love, my co-pilot. All the talking there in the cockpit chronicle.
So, and the other thing is, I think you would be a great instructor. I mean, I don't know, what do I know, but I think you would be a great instructor, because there's no BS. There's no BS coming from you right now. Like, it's like, this is what, I don't know. I think you'd be good at it.
I know, and that's the thing. I'm just like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or deter them. I don't know if I would be short-tempered, because I've never even considered being a teacher in any way, shape, or form. I'm, blessed and happy when people are willing to teach me. I'm like, thank God, because I don't know if I could deal with me, as a student being a teacher. So I don't know. I mean, everybody says they think I'll be fine, but it's still, that's someone's life in your hands and their future in your hands. And I would just be so invested, I feel like invested in all of it. And I don't even know if I'll be able to live my life. It's just like, have you done your studying? Have you done what you need to do? Like, no, we have goals. We have to accomplish them. Like, almost projecting, me onto them, you know, and you
That
gotta
sounds
kind of.
that sounds stressful for you, but also awesome.
I know it's just, oh goodness, I know it's because I just know that everyone is capable of getting stuff done, but you have to put the work in. It's obvious when you're not working hard, when you're not putting the work in, things, you know, fall to the wayside. One of my most memorable moments in my journey is completing 5 writtens in 1 month. Like
What?
that was major for me. Yeah, I completed 5 writtens in 1 month. I did the instrument IRA. I did the flight instructor instrument. I did the IGI, the FOI, and the FIA in 1 month. And I mean, it was back to back studying, like not letting up. It was just like test after test after test. You know, all the instruments are similar, but they have a little few different questions. So I just went, studied it. I made 3 100s. I was like on a roll. I was so sad when I made a 99 on the 4th one. And then, but I made 300s, 99, and the 88 and the 87. And knocking that out, like I'm just like, oh my God, like I really can do anything I put my mind to. It's pretty annoying.
That's incredible.
That was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, but I did it, and now I don't have to worry about it written.
You're kind of blowing my mind tonight.
I mean, but the written is so annoying. So it's very hard to like stay focused and stay on it. Like it was hard for me, but once I got in the zone, I just kept going, so I didn't get out the zone and just knocked it out and got it done. But the written is the worst part of flying. It is so annoying.
It's we were just talking in our little like, we call it my like Sky Fam, my local Sky family. Like we were talking about, we always quiz each other, and like my brain is constantly hurting because we're like quizzing regs and stuff. So I agree, it's definitely the hardest part. I wanted to call out a couple things people are saying in the chat right now. S. Harris it says, she definitely inspired me to go after my private pilot license, currently an A&P. So look at that. You're already on your way to inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I do what I can. I mean, I might become a mechanic too. I want to dibble and dabble and everything. Once I accomplish stuff, it's like I'm good for a minute, and then I'm like, okay, what next? What next can I do? So I've definitely been thinking about mechanic.
I've also been I first started thinking about mechanic because we had Savannah Rasky on, who's starting to get her A&P, the Savvy Traveler, and then also
she's amazing.
Never sleeps, and then apparently beats the crap out of people for fun lately.
Right.
And then we just had oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Chelsea Smith was just on, the Warbird mechanic, and I was like, oh, she was telling me like, get your butt to A&P school, man. You're gonna learn so much. And all of my spirits, I don't know how you guys do. You have so much time. You don't have a lot of. I think it's about how you manage it. Jacob is saying also that he agrees about the charismatic comment that makes a flight instructor very likable and easy to work with. So maybe that's another little point in your direction there. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to derail you from like fighter jets, but I'm just saying,
you're
like,
right.
you'd be good
You're
at
right.
it.
I know, you're right. I can do it all. You're right. A lot of people like me and they listen to me, and you know, because I am honest. I'm real all the time. I'm literally the same person all the time. I don't know how to be different. So that, you know, works in my favor for the most part. And you know, people do need honesty and encouragement.
Another one, Marty Burian was one of my instructors, and people in the chat know him, but he says he knows her stuff, willing to work hard, knows how to make a good and bad instructor. Let me pull it back up. Has an obvious love of aviation. Tell me again why you wouldn't become an instructor. Maybe the new title of this video is going to be, we try to convince the Flying Princess to become an instructor.
Anyway, when I become an instructor, I'm going to give all credit to you guys. I know it's really just a motivation. It's just more studying. Like, I know I'm good at studying, but I don't like studying, you know? So it's one of those things, like, I just know I have to study. And then hearing that the check ride is 5-6 hours just for the oral portion, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, no matter how prepared I am for a check ride, my heart is always racing and pounding. I'm still always nervous. Even when I get it, I'm like, is this real? Can they take it back? Are they sure? Like, I'm always so worried.
I think that just
Yeah, so
means you
I don't
care,
know.
though. It just means you care.
Yeah,
So,
I do.
so we're actually almost out of time already, which is amazing. But I knew it was going to be that way because I knew we were going to connect right away. What I'm curious about is, and if we can get back to like the more serious questions for a second, like, you know, you are already with your book, with the media appearances you're doing, you are already in the business of inspiring people. If you had to give one piece of advice, and I it's kind of cliche that I ask all the women pilots this, but I'm thinking as a dad, right? Like I'm the dad of these two daughters. I'm always curious about this, like not just for aspiring young women, but for all pilots. Like, what advice would you give? You're about midway through your journey towards this goal. Like, what advice would you give to folks who want to follow in those footsteps and see you as an inspiration in everything they're seeing you in?
Well, my advice is I think it's easy to what we didn't have growing up, what we wish we would have had, and be like, that's why we're not where we want to be now, is because of my past or my upbringing. And I just want to encourage people to not use your past as a hindrance. I want to encourage them to let them know that life, we can level out the playing field. You have to do your part. You have to work hard. And we all have a generation, the generations to come. We have to pave the way for them. So that would just be my advice. Life isn't fair, but work harder. Things might not be as easy as someone else, but that should never deter you. It's just going to be your story, your journey that you get to talk about, that you get to share. So hopefully that encourages someone.
I think we're all the protagonists of our own movie, right? Like, and
right.
all good movies have like obstacles that we have to overcome, right? Like you wouldn't watch a movie if it was just like everything's great for 3 hours or
right, exactly.
I don't know. No one's watching 3-hour movies anymore.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
For sure.
Be the change you want to. Mm-hmm.
Oh, say that again.
Because it's important. I know it's breaking up. It's important to be the change you want to see, or the change, that you wish you had. Do that for someone else. Make life easier for the next to come.
Yeah, and that's like a heavy weight, but also what a great way to live your life, as opposed to like giving instead of taking. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
That's how I feel like you're a person who gives a lot, right? I don't know. That's my sense.
I do. I definitely do. Yes, I do, because I care, and I want everybody to be great. I want everybody to be excited to do that.
So one of the things we do in
our part.
Oh, I interrupted you. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. You're okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the things we do before we wrap up the show is we play a little game called Short Final, where I just ask you a bunch of, like, short questions. There's, like, no points. You've already won. Everyone in the chat loves you, so you've already won.
Love you guys.
Oh, by the way, though, there's some counterpoint in the chat, actually. Clayton says, being a fighter pilot would be better marketing as a CFI.
Being a fighter pilot would be better marketing as a CFI?
Like if you were a fighter pilot, yeah.
Right.
So do that one first.
So becoming a fighter pilot, yeah. Okay, so doing that I'm like trying to see if you want me to be a fighter pilot first or a CFI, yes. Well, yeah, good.
Be that's a fighter pilot.
That's my goal. That's what I see.
Yeah, because then it could be like I don't know. We'll workshop some names. It could be like, well, like I'm the F-35 princess, and like you should come learn from me because I was landing airplanes vertically. Well, not if you're not in the Air Force.
Right.
All right, let's play a game. Let's play.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. All right. So we're just gonna. It's a minute on the clock. I'm just gonna ask you a bunch of questions. No wrong answers. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let me put. I don't know if the music. Well, we'll skip the music. All right. So Laura, the Flying Princess. First, foremost, I gotta ask you, favorite airport you've ever landed at?
As a flight attendant, Jackson Hole. As a private pilot, Peach State, Grass
Oh,
Strip.
cool. Love it. What about your favorite passenger you've ever had?
Favorite passenger as a flight attendant?
Sure.
Or as a pilot?
I was gonna say, it sounds like there's a story there. So, whatever one you want to tell.
I mean, because I'm still a flight attendant, but I'm also pilot. Okay, favorite passenger as a pilot. Who have I taken up? I haven't done a lot of taking people up, but I did take my twin cousin up, and she's just so excited. She was so happy. She's so proud of me, and I mean, to the point where her little daughter is my little cousin. Her, is that Laura in the sky? Is that Auntie Laura? Is that Auntie Laura flying? I want to be a pilot like Auntie Laura, like, and she's just so. Laura, they would have never known anything about this if you weren't here. So, she's my favorite.
That's awesome. But now I have to, like, what's this? You clearly have a story to tell about it as a flight attendant. That was a great. That's good. But like, what's? Are we gonna get you in trouble?
Honestly, I don't remember much about when I was a flight attendant. That's like so far back. I would really have to think about it because I haven't flown in almost a year. And to think about a favorite passenger, I mean, I've had a lot of passengers that were really good, but one doesn't stand out over the other right now.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I have my favorite story about this jerk or whatever.
Oh, I do have those stories, but I'll pass on talking about them.
That's the next time you're on the show, right? We'll cover that the next time. Awesome.
Exactly. Try to keep it PG.
Well, Laura, this has been super, super cool. I'm so excited that we finally got to meet and chat, and I think, I mean, obviously everything you're doing to like inspire, the thing you were saying about inspiring future generations is so important, right? Especially right now, like in a year like this year where everyone's like feeling it. I guess last year and now this year too, everyone's feeling it, right? So like to have some brightness, things that we can pursue, you know, the way that you're giving back like that, I think is just really, really great. So thank you for doing that, I guess is the cheesy thing to say, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for being on the show. It's been fun.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me use your platform to once again share my story, get it out there, and hopefully inspire one new person.
Well, you did. You got the what's his name? Or what's her name? I don't know. S. Harris.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. I get stories all the time. People always write me, and I'm just like, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something good. Just so easy to just, you know, sit in the shadows and not talk about anything and just, you know, be to yourself for yourself. So it really takes a lot of energy and time and effort to do all of these interviews and try to like just really push it as much as I can.
I think it's another week where I've been wanting to say, like, I think we talked about this last week too. I feel like I'm going to put a thing after talking to you, talking to Mel, talking to Carolyn last week. Like I'm going to get a sign that, or like a framed picture that when I wake up, like the first thing I get out of bed is going to say like manifest or like manifest.
Manifest. Yeah.
That's the takeaway. The last couple of weeks on the show, everyone's just like, just do. What's that? Well, I don't know. He's kind of sketch now. Didn't he have some Shia LaBeouf or whatever? He's. I don't know if he's okay or not. And I think he did some creepy stuff, but maybe, I don't know. But he had that viral video where he's like yelling, "Just do it," with like explosions behind him. That's how I feel. I don't know. I don't know if he's okay to talk about anymore. I feel like there's something.
I don't know anything bad about Shia LaBeouf, so I'm not.
I thought he did something bad, didn't they? I mean, they all do something bad eventually. All right.
Right.
This isn't movie chat with Ryan and Laura. This is airplane chat with Ryan and Laura.
Easy to get off topic with. I'm definitely on a tangent with you. So
All
the
right,
best.
Laura, this has been so cool. I hope we get to meet sometime in the future. Would love to go flying with you or something. Thanks
Yes.
again for being on the show and sharing your story with us. And yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for having me. Thank you guys for listening. I love y'all.
Awesome. Everybody else, thanks so much for watching tonight. Thanks for hanging in with the no music on the intro. Thanks for your great conversation. And I always gesture this way, but you can't see where the chat is on my screen. Thank you for all the great, thoughtful comments in the chat. Make sure to tune in next week. I think we're talking about National Stole, which is why I'm going to be down at Sun and Fun. And if you're going to be in Sun and Fun, shoot me a message in the comments. Maybe we can all get together and like elbow or whatever is safe to do still. I don't know. We're gonna be safe, but we're gonna do it. So if you know, as you guys know, like, subscribe, share it. That's the big one. And if you really like what we're doing, Patreon got the SuperAero Squadron gets together every Wednesday night to continue to geek out about airplanes. And would love to have you there if you're really liking what we're doing here. All right. That's enough babbling for me. Go forth. Go fly. Ooh, that has a nice ring to it. All right. We'll see you guys next week.